Alright guys, today I'm going to be going over the trade recap for today. Today was honestly I think it was a very nice day. The morning was very choppy, but everything played out as perfect as we wanted. And I'm going to go over first off in the morning. This is important because this is pretty much how I framed my day and how I took most of my trades. So when I go on a 1 hour time frame, as we learned from John Wicks and his future clinics, we have these lows and draws in liquidity that are pretty strong. So right here, we already had this weekly one that was already marked out. And then we have this one over here on the day. So we have like these lows and we have this level over here. And we have this. So we actually had this double bottom in the morning right here. We had this double bottom. And then it ended up actually becoming a triple bottom later day, which I'll go over. And like I had this low marked out as well. I also had already these highs marked out because we saw in the overnight session we rejected this level a lot. So on a higher time frame NQ, I marked out this previous area because we found support here, and when we did, we saw a big rally up. So what can we expect again? That if we find support here again, we could see another rally higher. So now I come in the 5-minute time frame after marking my levels, and if we look back at today, right, have our IB high, IB low. We know I like to draw my fib setup, so drew my fibs here, and let me draw this accurate to the IB low now. There we go. So what do I see, right? I had this level up here, never got tapped, so we completely ignored it. Then the IB30 gets set on this 10 a.m. candle, so this candle right here. We get a pullback to the 618. I shorted this back down. Then we actually got the bounce to the IB low, and I longed this back up. Then I shorted it back down on this 618 here, and I ended up getting stopped out on this because I was trying to look for the break. I thought we would get the break here, but we did not. And then they gave us like a god candle back to the upside. Now, what I liked about this short that I took up here was when I was seeing on the maps is that QQQ had a major ceiling right in this range in the golden zone, which is pretty much what I was playing off of, right? You had this golden zone QQQ king node here, and we kept like tapping into it and rejecting. So what I'm seeing is that this zone's holding and that QQQ ceiling is holding as well throughout the day, so that this IB high is probably not going to get broken. I'm more inclined for the low to get broken. And there's that major draw on liquidity at these lows at 241 that we have marked out from this pre-market low. So when I took this short here again off of the deep retracement with VWAP. So that was another conviction I had. And we got the rally lower. And then I ended up getting stopped out over here. Getting stopped out on the bounce of the IB high here. And then we actually got the Brokeman a new low a day. Then we got to pull back again to the 50%, which I shorted down with the SPX King node rolling down. I'll go over this on Atlas. Then I shorted this all the way down, and we got the IB broke to the low. And if you remember at the end of the day, we actually took longs here, and then we got the rally up towards the end of the day while SPX and SPY diverged. So we got like 4 fib setups just for the day in general, and it was a pretty nice day, like using the IB strategy, proving to work again even on the tough day. Now, pulling up Atlas, looking back on the day. Let's go to 9:30. So, see in the morning, as we keep testing here, like I'm not taking any trades in this morning because there wasn't really much for me to take. Now, let me draw my fib. So this is the fib we have drawn for the day. And we see SPY SPX. We have that previous day low, so this major liquidity level here. And we actually see when we got the pullback to the golden zone here on Qs, like I just kept shorting this down and just scalping it. Now, this is where I saw the A plus setup, and this was the setup I liked the most for the day. It was the deep retracement on both SPX, SPY, and QQQ. So if you look here, right, you had the ultimate deep retracement, and then SPY and SPX made the new high a day, right? They made a new high a day. They broke the IB high. Now Q still hasn't broken out the range, and it still has the potential to break that low. So as we're seeing here, we actually swept that previous day low. So right here, this is like a key pivot level, and we swept it with a SPY node here, QQQ King node with the deep retracement, and a SPY sweep here of the previous day low again. And we could also consider this a failed break of the IB high too. So this was a failed breakout, and I shorted this all the way back down for the breakout to the lows. And we still had the SPY 765 node down here. We still had this SPX gatekeeping the upside. So I was more inclined. The risk to reward to the downside made more sense for an IB break. And as me and Calf always talk about, there's like a 95% chance of us breaking out of the overnight range and the range in general. And I'm sure Calf will go over this in his video as well, which is worth to watch. So this is how we predicted this break. And this trade set alone like had insane risk to reward. Right? So we had, like, if you looked at this short, you didn't even have to take in the deep retracement. You could have probably caught it on the way down. Like, I know I like my 20-point stop. And let's say you took this to the drawdown here, right? That was like a 1 to 9 risk to reward trade you would have took with like 0 drawdown. And that could have been your one and done. This is an insane amount of points on NQ, 200 points. That's like a $5 move on QQQ. And that's still a good amount for the day. It ran, you had the QQQ King node, deep retracement, and all this stuff I talk about in Oracle Index every single day. And I'm commentating these trades throughout the whole day. Whether you're looking at the channel and you're seeing what I'm saying, I'm pretty much talking about, I'm talking about all these setups throughout the day, right? Like, and this is before it even happened. Let's see. So before we even get that push down here at, what time was this at? This is at 11. So watch for SPY, get the roll up. My read is that we get a new low a day. I'm saying this at 11, so I'm saying this up here. Literally on this, about before the push down. I said my read here is that we get a new low a day, QQQ. SPY finds support at the 765 down here. That was a correct read. And that grows, and then we have the 709, 710 rug back up to the SPX 705. And then I said the maps are all over the place. And then I said over here in the morning, 10 a.m. too, by the way, when IBs get set, looking for an IB break, have the 714, so the QQQ King node, for a deep retracement with the Pika stack for me on SPY to support downside and the deep retracement if we get it. Because it wasn't what's it called, a direct read, because I didn't know if we would get that deep retracement or if they would break the IB low right off the bat. But it played out perfectly, and I'm saying this like every single day in the morning in the Oracle Index. So we got the deep retracement, pretty much exactly what I said. And then we got the V-band reversal down. And remember I said I SPY 765? Over here, this is considered the tap of the 765 as support. So that read was valid. We got the move up. And then we also got a retest again of the 50%. And they rolled down SPX's King node for down here. So they rolled it down. They moved it up, rolled it down again. So roll down from 7705 to 7700 to 7785, ultimately gatekeeping any more upside. So they rolled it down. We got the flush. We were at VWAP, previous day low held, 50% fib from the IBs. Then we got another break of the lows, and we got a complete flush. I took some SPX shorts. They ran a total of 700%, I'm pretty sure. I took profit at 200% on my runners, and that's just an L for me because I didn't think we'd get a complete flush. But it is what it is. Profit's profit. So we got that move down, and we see that SPX just bounced around in this range at the end of the day. SPY had the ceiling over here at 765 that we kept testing in the chop. But do you remember on QQQ what I said about the reverse rug at 709? What happened? 709? They swept the liquidity down here at those lows. I have to go far out to see it, but they swept these lows, reversed it, and they sent Qs up. And a lot of people like I called out this call, and I also told people like size for zero that I'm leaving this to run, and if it stops me out, I'm already sized for zero, and the trade actually ran over 100%. Being in draw, I was down 40%. The trade ran 100% profit. So that's the power of sizing for zero and everything. And then the 7640 actually got acquired later in the day, and we ended up hitting that bouncing at the end of the day. Now, a lot of people on SPX, like I'll go on the replay here. We saw this setup for the longs, right? And it played out on Qs fine, but not on SPX, and I'm gonna show you guys why. And it's because of the insane reshuffle that we had later in the day. So where's the replay button? Right here. So over here, right? We see a Pika stack on SPX at 7655. Then we see a reverse rug pull on SPY, and then QQQ has a somewhat of a reverse rug pull forming from the 709 that's growing. So you'll see, watch the SPX nodes, right? When we get to these nodes, when we're looking to play the deflection, see the size of these nodes right here? And then we're waiting for 709 to get hit, right? Before we even long it. So 709 gets hit. This is where we look to long. And then look at those SPX nodes, right? You see it, right? 53 mil, 48 mil. In 2 seconds, sliced, destroyed, and they created air pockets to make a move back down to the 7640. Now QQQ still has the 709 floor here that's holding price up, and now SPY has the 7640 ceiling. So when we took the longs here, right, we did get that move down, but then we got this candle up, and I ended up taking profit at the 764 on SPY here, which was a 30% TP. So I was in drawdown 40%, came back up 30%. That's the equivalent of a 70% return, and I took profit at 30% here. And then we came back, we retested the 709, and we actually held it again, while SPX and SPY, we could see, just chopped in this range, because we still had those air pockets down to 7640 on SPX. And Qs just diverged really hard and squeezed, and these contracts ran like 200% on QQQ. And then they finally shorted back down towards the end of the day. 712 here. There's your short on QQQ. This is your 50-cent range gain tapped. So this is the node gain tapped on Qs. SPX King node gain tapped. And then look at that, right? What do we see for the mock? As we were also talking about on stages, you see the 7640 getting hit. So it was I think it was a pretty clean day, at least in my opinion, for the reads. I know a lot of people struggled, and I always say this when it comes to reading the maps: try to think ahead. Don't think about what's going to happen right now. Try to think about reading the maps. Look, I'm looking at the maps right now, right? Let me make a whole bunch of outlooks in my head on what could happen. Okay, if 7640 holds, we'll see upside on SPX, but there's also the 7600 pointing down, so we could still see more downside. All right, here's our range on SPY. 765, 766 could act as two ceilings here, and 760 is our floor. Those are the possibilities where we reject those two upsides in SPY and bounce the King node floor. QQQ 715 gatekeeper to the upside, and then 709, 708 floors that are strong here, and then 700 as well. So make those game plans in your head and try to think ahead. That's the best thing I could give, and that's how I play the IBs. I try to think, where's the most probable setup for a break, and how can I position myself to get in the move before the break happens. Because the way the IB works is when the lows get broken, either the IB low or the IB high, people chase the breakout, and that's when the breakout traders enter because they know there's going to be a strong break and a continuation flush. Now, to get the best risk to reward, why not get in before that breakout happens at a very discounted or a premium area to enter, get the best risk to reward, and be able to be in the trade before those people enter and use them as liquidity. That's pretty much how the IB works, and we could see when we got the IB break, it was a strong break. We flushed really hard. And a lot of breakout traders, that's how they trade. They trade that breakout, but instead of trading a breakout, why not just wait for that pullback to a Fibonacci golden zone with King node structure and then target downside nodes that are accumulating like we saw on 709 on QQQ. It played out almost perfect, and it does this all the time. You can even go back now on Skylit, draw your fibs, backtest this with the IBs, and use the session levels. And I've seen it work almost every day for like the past couple of months. It's the strategy I've been using, and it's how I've been able to be profitable every single day. So I do recommend trying it out and learning how to read the maps because that will be important in order for you to analyze and try to visualize what will happen and how to predict the moves before they even happen, if that makes sense. And learning how Timmy hunts work with these high liquidity areas. Because look at this, right? When we hit the 50%, we came back to this low right here. And we pretty much, this was an area where we had strong liquidity, so there's a strong resistance here. Then we swept that 50% fib. There you go. Clean short back down. IB break. It's a strong break. They even retest that break and then flush it. So something you got to pay attention to every day because it's literally, this happens every day. So hope you guys enjoy, and this helps a lot on learning the IBs. My DMs are always open, so never feel afraid to ask. I have a lot of people that DM me every single day asking about it, and like I would rather everybody learn how to use this strategy and use it to the best of the ability rather than just struggling on your own. So see you guys later.